Back with another interview. This time I have Omar.
Hi there.
So Omar was typed double feminine, SCFI, consume, sleep, play, blast. And his husband thinks he's a social four. I think he's a social four. He is seeing social four, so this is what we're gonna go with. Um, so I'm curious, Omar, like what is the main thing that's making you see social four for
Hmm,
yourself?
Okay. Um, for myself, I think it's because well, I had to kind of understand what the social types what differentiated them to see like the individual one.
Hmm.
Um, I guess I don't have to explain my entire process for trying to figure that out for myself. But um, I guess when I look at one feels like the most foreign to me. And then the middle two, the two and three kind of seemed more, I'm like in between. And so then that just kind of ruled out like, okay, four makes sense. And
Hmm.
just kind of thinking about like what's my priority? Like what's the one thing I can't live without? Like if
Hmm.
in a job work setting or in a social setting. And I think it's definitely um that sort of social aspect, that aspect of connecting with other people. I don't really care what I'm doing, as long as I feel like I'm supporting somebody or I'm like helping somebody like on a team. I don't know. That's just kind of my mentality. Even in the video games that I play with, I always play like support role and everything. I don't know. It's just
Hmm.
what I do.
Interesting. All right, that's interesting. So, you are technically incongruent being an introvert with blast last, especially, and being a four. So that
Uh,
means that usually, I mean, we only have we don't have that many anecdotes so far, but
mhm.
what they are saying about being introverted as a four is that like you want friends, but
Mm.
it's as if you're like expecting them to come to you.
Yeah, I heard
So,
Xavier watching that video. I was kind of eavesdropping on it. I was like, oh, that's interesting. It's pretty relatable, that one.
oh, that's
Um,
me.
So, but yeah, I think that's definitely the case. We were actually just chit-chatting about it a little bit earlier. Um, like, I love interacting with new people and talking with new people and everything. Um, but I don't like leaving my house. Like, there's just too much
Hmm.
going on, like outside. I don't know. I guess if it's not like a controlled situation or like a not like a setting or something,
Hmm.
I'm more intimidated by it. Like it feels like a much bigger hurdle to get over there. Once I'm actually like in this situation, like once I'm amongst people, then I can just start pinging off them or just I can just go with whatever is going on. Does that make sense?
Hmm. So as soon as the people have come to you, then you can get in that state, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely Xavier has to like usually drag me out of the house, but once I'm out, it's like I'm the one interacting with everybody. I'm the one talking with everyone. I'm playing the pleasantries and everything. So, but otherwise, it's like it's such a hurdle to like drag me out in the first place. Once I'm in there, I can adapt to that kind of environment pretty decently. I think I do anyway.
Hmm. Interesting. So, what do you really do to adapt to those environments?
That started in, wait, what do I do to adapt to it? It's instinctual. I don't really think about it. It's just once I'm there, once there's a bunch of people, I don't know, I just pick up how they are and then I just kind of try to match it while also being myself. Does that make sense? Like it's a little game that I feel like I'm playing in my head, where it's like I'm letting myself be who I am, but I'm also trying not to give too much because I know sometimes I can be a little too open with people right off the bat. And so I think that can make, I don't know. I just assume that it makes people might maybe uncomfortable or something. I always ask, like, "Oh, is this okay?" Like, I try to pay, like ask them, like how I'm not coming off too strong or anything. And usually people say fine, but I don't know. But I guess that started in
Hmm.
college. Um, when I started college, that's when I decided to come out my shell. Like, I kind of made a deliberate like choice, like, okay, like I'm gonna get out of my comfort zone and just start talking to people.
Hmm. Interesting.
Interesting.
I'm
Trademark.
like curious, like,
Okay.
because you're an introvert that is
Hmm.
save your friends. I'm
Hmm.
curious if like you just end up having like extroverted people that have save your friends to
Hmm.
be friends, if that makes sense. Like they come to
Oh,
you.
yeah, definitely. I married an extrovert. My best friend, she's highly extroverted. And it's so bad. It's funny though. Sometimes because I have a lot of extroverted friends, I'll pawn them off to each other when I don't have the energy to do it. Like I'll make plans in a way where I know, like, oh, I know that person will talk to that person, and I can just enjoy the vibes.
Hmm.
And so I can just throw in a little
Interesting.
tidbit of information here and there, and they'll just run with it, and it's great. You just kind of sit back and watch, like,
So you're the friend stealer.
no, no. See, I feel like I bring people together a little bit, actually.
Uh, that's funny. Hmm. Okay, interesting. All right, let's see. So
You're giving Mr. Smithers vibes, or not Smithers, Mr. Interesting. Or that's more like Megan from Jake and Josh.
that's funny. So
Megan.
okay, so like my next question is like because you work consume sleep, do you end up like um okay, I'm gonna say it this way. So do you end up gathering friends that you want to be friends with for a very long time? Is that like part of your equation?
That's what I thought for a little bit. Um, then I kind of realized over time that I think I actually just like making superficial connections. I like getting to
Hmm.
know people and getting to know like new things about them. I think I like that part because it's kind of easy. Like you just open up. I think it's because I never know what to say um, on my end. I don't feel like I'm a terribly interesting person. I think I mentioned this to you before in a previous little chat between us. So
Hmm.
that's why I'm like, once I actually get to know the people, I feel like they'll be like, oh no, they kind of see that I'm like, it's not too much going on there. I'm pretty basic.
Hmm.
Um, I know.
So
You're like, darn,
superficial
those
connections.
theories aren't going. Yeah, it's not going the way you were thought.
Hmm.
Whatever.
That's interesting because I don't know why. I just kind of expected that Savior FI with friends would be more like intimate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Whereas I'm noticing with myself being lead flex, I
Mm-hmm.
actually seek the super intimate friendships.
Mm-hmm.
They're very hard to find, extremely
Yeah.
hard. It's very hard for me to find somebody that I don't know. It's like I guess there's more of like a um I feel like because the for number one the goal is to flex. The goal is to like break your last record. Constantly push on yourself to
Mm-hmm.
even push the whole tribe forward. Like you feel like you have to
Mm-hmm.
like you're responsible for that like getting thing like everything to a certain standard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so like since a lot of what's involved in that process is like introspecting and they are relating flex with sleep. So since a lot of it is like having to do with um like picking at things that can be changed. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like when I am forming friendships, I'm looking for somebody that can either help facilitate that in myself or somebody that
Mm-hmm.
I can facilitate that for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, I guess I want to know like for lead friends, um, it just already sounds very different. So I'm just like trying to understand what is the goal of having Savior friends.
Hmm.
If there is a goal, because I'm talking in
Right,
flex words.
right. I'm like a goal about it. I think yeah, that probably is the kind of the disconnect there is that I don't think it's about the objective. I mean, unless like I'm meeting for that. Like trying to think about how to sort it out in my head. Um, sorry. um, please hold while we process your. I guess if there were a goal, it would. I don't know. I guess it's like a strength in number situation.
Hmm.
It's kind of how I would articulate it. Um, if you have a nice, like, wide, I don't know, if you have connections with several people, there's always somebody who knows something, I guess. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the same reason why somebody would network, different people for different situations. Thinking about it, I do kind of have friends for different kind of categories. Like I have friends that I play games with. I have friends that I would go out shopping with. I do have like two close friends, and that's really it. So, and then everyone else, I just like, but then again, like my two close friends, I still only talk to them on average like once a month.
Hmm.
So I don't have terribly deep connections, I'll admit. My deepest connection has to be with my husband. I think I just kind of pour it all into him, like that need for
Hmm.
commitment or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, I got my person. And everyone else, I'm like, they can just come and go as they please. You can pick
Hmm.
up right where you left off when you're friends with me. Like, I don't care if you stop talking to me for like a year. I actually did just have a friend like that we haven't talked since September of last year, and we started talking last weekend, and we just picked up like how we always did and just went back and forth, just BSing back. That's why I love that friend of mine because he can just he can just dish it out. We talk absolutely nonsensically, like there's no substance to what we're saying, but I enjoy it, you know.
That's interesting. 'Cause I feel
Mm,
like if that happened to me, I would like. I usually this does happen. Like I do probe for um like I need to know like what happened. Like
oh, really?
yeah, because like what if they stop talking to me because they like I don't know, either they think something bad about me or I
Mm,
did something wrong or like what is the thing that caused that to happen? And I want to know what that is so that I can make sure that doesn't happen again.
mhm.
But I guess maybe with Save Your Friends, um, like
Yeah.
I, I don't even know, like
I think I leave that responsibility to the person
mm,
like I'm talking to. I have the mentality like if you do have an issue, like I will open like the dialogue for you to like if it seems
mm,
pertinent. If we do pick up like nothing and we just seem to enjoy ourselves, then the past doesn't matter. Then I only care about that time I'm spending with them. Um, though I
mm,
am open to hear it if they would choose to, but it's not important to me though. I would do it for their sake, is why I would ask. Um, hey, did I do anything, to offend you or that made you uncomfortable? Be sure to let me know because, sometimes I can just start blabbering off. I don't think about it. I'll open that
mm,
dialogue. And then if they say nothing at that point, I invited them to, and I'm like, all right, well, just let me know, and we just continue, carry on. Uh,
mm,
that's my
mm.
mentality anyway. I don't know
No, I hear
other
you.
fours or anything. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds more like healthy, like I mean, that's just like one word to use. Like, not that like I'm necessarily unhealthy, but like that sounds very what's the word?
I don't know.
It's like there's no block, like it's totally like this like there's no problem until like there actually is one.
Mhm.
Whereas for me, like I'm like actively looking for problems.
Oh,
Um, yeah, that's the difference I see.
okay. Yeah, I can explain it like how I interact with ones because I'm pretty sure Xavier is a number one. So he's like that, where I'll start talking about something, but he wears his emotions on his face, so they're very clear.
Oh,
Like he won't say anything, but I'm like, oh, okay, something's troubling you. So then I first try to kind of tease to see if he's ready to talk about it, and then if he seems like he's ready, I just open up the space for him to express his grievances.
hmm. So
Um, yeah,
he's double feminine NETI consume play sleep blast.
that's a running theory, yeah. But he's thinking about retyping.
Okay, interesting. So he has FE, and whereas you have FI.
Yeah, yeah, that part we do feel confident on. I think he does have that. He is on the FETI axis there. Actually,
I
and I
see.
do think he's on the NI or the NESI axis too.
Okay.
And mind you, we have had a lot of communication issues um, early in
Hmm.
our early relationship, but we've been together for 12 years now, so we've learned it over time. Like
Oh
and then
wow.
the OPS has actually helped substantially, like giving words to describe these different like ways of processing information.
Hmm.
Realizing that kind of helps both of us see what the other's doing. That we're like, why are you doing? Before we look at each other, just completely confused, bewildered, like, that's where your mind went? Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. I'm curious because like technically, FE is already a little bit similar to Friends.
Mm,
Um, like particularly feminine FE. So like being number one
mm.
with FE, I'm curious like, hmm. I mean, it's not like I'm interviewing him right now, but
I would love to read my husband right now, but I probably shouldn't do that. He's gonna see this later and he's gonna rip me one. Uh,
okay, so like when okay, let me frame this question better. Okay,
mm,
so when you're like making a friend and let's say your husband's with you
mm,
and he has to use friends or FE,
mhm.
um, how do you see that it's different than when you were using friends?
With him, it feels like he's just so concerned with how he's being perceived that he's kind of sabotaging him. Like I see, like he wants to connect with them, but he's so worrying so much about how he's being perceived that he's not actually connecting, opening up to connect. So when he interacts with people, it's almost like it's always highly professional coming out like at first, whereas when I come and meet people, like he was actually talking to me about this the other day. We went to the bank, and the banker, to him, we were going to see the banker, because we just needed X, Y, and Z done. Um, but here I am, just in the moments of silence, like, oh, so you're planning a trip? Oh, you're a family guy. That's cool. I'm just blabbering off, just opening up, telling my story. Then the banker starts telling his story, and next thing I know this banker. So, but I don't know. It's not really something I think about. It's just, I think I'm just a chatterbox until I can get the other person to start chatting, and then I shut up and just listen.
Hmm,
And that's pretty much the
interesting.
game.
That is very interesting because like you have like it's basically an extroverted social savior
Mm,
um as a consumed sleep. Um and so you're saying like your husband he will be more like business businessy, you think?
Yes, yeah, I would definitely describe it like that. He wants to talk to people with like he's actually just
The
very
goal in
quiet.
mind.
Yeah, he's very quiet. I think it's because there's too many unknowns, maybe. I think it might factor into his like the blast last for him or something. I'm
Hmm.
not sure. But and it's like until he gets comfortable, he's usually very reluctant to. He doesn't want to like share a lot of his, like information about himself.
Hmm.
But I'm like, you kind of need to give a little to get a little, you know?
Hmm. That is tough. Because I relate to that part. Like I feel like this is just like what I'm seeing, but like I feel like with the friend saviors, um, when they share things about themselves, they have a better time making that like be an opportunity to socialize with people.
Yes, exactly. That's, I think, well articulated.
How do you like are you like do you know that you're doing that when you're doing it, or is it just by itself, or
No, it's the part that I'm thinking about is more restraint. I
hmm
give too much information too soon, so I try to reel it back, actually. I just
hmm
kind of like, here's who I am, here's what I do, here's the type of person I am. It was like, now you. And I'm like, and then they try to ping it back to me. They do the same thing and then they come back to me. I'm like, oh, so what about you? I'm like, I pretty much told you. I don't know, I kind of, or never mind, actually. I'm not sure if I'm going the right direction with that.
hmm
I'm sorry.
interesting.
I'm a little scatterbrained.
So let me see if I'm understanding correctly. So,
I appreciate your attempt to try to like take this in and synthesize it into something that means something. Because right now I really am just kind of spouting what's coming off my head.
I always
Actually,
do that.
yeah, I think that's probably part of my process. I think I just like am throwing stuff at you, kind of hoping that you'll pick up something and turn it into something.
Well, I do. Thankfully, I do. Like that's just my communication style. I'm listening to you.
Hmm.
I'm trying to understand what you're saying, and I
Hmm.
genuinely do. Like I'm genuinely trying to understand, and then I like blast it back.
Uh-huh.
Like, okay, well, this is how I understand it. Tell me this is exactly like what you're
Mm.
trying to say.
Hmm.
Um, that's just like I don't know what that's from. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's just how I do it. But so from what I'm understanding,
Hmm.
so you do use your consumed sleep reports
Hmm.
to make friends, like to make an
Okay.
opportunity to socialize.
Right. I'm sorry. One second. I
Okay.
dropped my headphone. But yes.
Okay. So you do that to make an opportunity to socialize.
Mhm.
However, I'm guessing from what you're saying, like you can sometimes go too far with the consume sleep.
That's my self-perception. I don't feel like anyone's actually ever told me that.
Hmm,
Sometimes I feel like I'm sharing too much, but then I ask the person and they say, no, you're fine. Especially if the other person's
interesting.
not a particularly talkative. I'm, I'm comfortable with silence. I have no problem with like moments of silence going by and while we both sit with our thoughts.
Hmm.
Uh,
So okay, so now I need to know because it does sound like the Savior Friends is giving you some level of tribal awareness.
mm,
Because if like nobody's complaining, usually like a sign that you have a demon is what are people complaining about you.
mm,
So if people don't complain about your like being too DI or anything to that effect,
gotcha.
I'm
Trying to think of.
guessing, like, do you think the Savior Friends is making it more instinctual for you on a social level?
I think so. I think it gives me just a little bit more access to play, is my theory.
Hmm.
I mean, they are in the middle too anyway for me. Sleep and play right there, kind of going back and forth. So I
Hmm.
mean, it does feel like that game of I have the potato, now you have the potato. You know?
Hmm. But like, are you
Uh,
like trying to read like a sort of rhythm or like a um like do you think your friend Savior is reading other people?
friend savior reading other people. Yes, I do feel like that is the case. Like I'm usually just trying to see where the other person's at. I'm having trouble seeing your face right now, actually, because the screen is really tiny. So,
Really?
well, yeah, because I'm on the phone, so that's why I'm kind of like, so it is kind of harder for me to get some idea of what's going on your end. But you seem pretty relaxed, and you just seem to be in your head, just kind of thinking about whatever I'm saying. So I think the
Hmm.
conversation's going fine. I feel like I'm not saying quite the answers that you're looking for or that going in the direction that you were probably intending. Um, but I still feel like it seems like you're finding value in it still. Mhm.
That's an interesting reading because, like, I am like, obviously, like, I am like listening closely.
Mhm.
I'm trying to like, that's a thing though. That's definitely a thing. Like, with my Savior sleep, like, as I'm asking questions, I'm like trying to process it as I'm
Mhm.
asking the question. So I'm not like just taking your answer and just kind of
Mhm.
moving. I am like taking your answer, dissecting it immediately, and like
Mhm.
trying to like synthesize it as you said earlier
Mhm.
in that moment.
Mhm.
So
Mhm. Mhm.
hmm, now I'm becoming like self-aware, like I'm not doing friends the other
You're going
people
back
do
into
it.
the sleep and back into the sleep, right? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So let's see. Hmm.
You might need to start making scripts. Just some go-tos, like, oh, what do I do now?
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. How about the specialize? Like, do you think you focus in a lot on the tasks that you're doing instead of like taking on new assignments?
Yes. I feel like with the social types, it's easiest for me to understand it through the context of working. So when comparing specialize versus responsibility or three versus two, I definitely say I lean on the specialize because I feel like a responsibility type person is though are those like those supervisors, those leaders, those people who are just trying to like check everything, be very oversighty, like, oh, okay, I saw how this person's doing. I'm gonna try doing some of that. I'm gonna try to do some of this. Uh, Whereas I'm like, can I just have everyone please stop and let me actually get this task done first? Like every time I get a new task or something, somebody's asking of me, I kind of put it in a queue, is what I think, is how I think of it.
Hmm.
Like, hey, can you take care of this? I'm like, oh yes, I will literally write it down in the moment. Even if it's a simple task, I will write it down because I'm like, I have to come to a stopping point with this first. Like what I'm doing, what's in front of me always takes kind of like priority, and then it's like about a shift, to
Hmm.
that. While as opposed to like somebody like people that I've seen that come off as very responsibility types, they will just drop whatever they're doing and pick that up, like, oh yeah, and then they'll throw it right back at you and then jump on the other thing, completely forget about what they were doing in the first place.
Hmm.
I don't know, but that's
Okay.
my
Interesting.
perception of it.
That's I didn't realize that the specializers had that going on because I have met people that do that. Like in my brain with the responsibility savior, like if something needs to get done and we are part of the same team,
Mm-hmm.
you do have to pick it up and or somebody has to take care of it or we have to communicate about taking care of it or
Mm-hmm.
you know
Yeah,
but like
and I would do that.
I like I do know people that like they tend to have more of like a like their time is just more important or Hmm. I mean, that's part of it. Like the order in which they do things is more rigid, I think.
Mm. Hmm.
Where, yeah, I think that's the difference. Hmm. So how about like with the responsibility though? Like you do sometimes flip
Yeah, I
strategies?
think yeah, I can weigh it. Like if it's obvious that that task is going to be more important, I can throw mine out of the way. And I noticed I tend to prioritize whatever is like
Hmm.
whatever seems most important to the tribe, basically. I'm like, oh, okay, well, the tribe cares about this one. I'll just throw that away. And if they say, hey, why didn't you get this done? I'll have no problem saying, oh, the tribe needed this done.
Hmm.
So, like, but I'll get to that now. At least that's been my approach, like, at work. I notice I tend to get tasks that impact other people's jobs first. Like, I like to make sure everybody else has their situation set, um, because it keeps things moving on their end.
Hmm.
And
Interesting. And I guess that's probably the difference between being a four and a three in terms of specialized because I think the threes are just a tad more like fully self-focused
mm,
in that sense. Whereas you're like trying to like make it easier for everybody.
exactly, yeah, I try to balance it, because at the end of the day, I don't have any personal investment on it. So I think that's a key like little distinction. I'm just like,
Hmm.
I mean, I don't care if that's what we have to get done. Let's get it done. Like, I kind of lean in on the fours and those twos or whoever. I kind of rely on all of those other functions, I think, to how do I articulate this? I feel like I rely on the people around me to help figure out what's most important, and I like to support that. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, I know you have to forgive me. My understanding of the social types isn't great, so I don't know
No,
how to
you're doing a
like.
great job,
Oh,
honestly. You're
okay.
doing an amazing job. You actually know a lot about like you're relating it to yourself very well. And so I
That
am
comes
getting
from
a lot.
sleep.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Okay, let's see. Um, hmm.
Hmm.
Okay, so like with responsibility third, they also say like at some point fours they may want to take up like a little bit of a management role.
Hmm.
Um, like it's almost like a peacocking thing. Like, oh, I was able to like do that. Like usually I don't care
Yeah.
about that, but I
Yeah.
actually did it. Are you
Yeah.
relating to that?
Yes, actually, I'm thinking of time in my past. I used to work at Kohl's, and I used to think that I was really good at my job. And I worked in the shoe department. And I mean, and I was good. I always got high praise from all my supervisors and everything. Um, so then when the time came for like the supervisor position opened up for one of the departments for shoes, I was like, okay, yeah, I'll give it a try. Everyone seems encouraging. They said that I could probably handle it, right? I lasted for 2 weeks and then I stepped down. And I always remember why, like, what really overwhelmed me about it. And it was the fact that it was like two things. One, it really stressed me out when my manager told me, like, what's your vision for like this department? Like, how do you want to like organize it and everything? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, like, what needs to get done? I don't know. And then, so then I was like, okay, okay, I can do this. So then I tried to like make it happen, but it just wasn't quite working how I was hoping it would. So I was just really slow at it, basically. I was really slow to figure out the system myself, and I think that also goes with having the demon T, um, and then just trying to figure that out. I definitely like to work within established systems. Um,
Hmm.
but the other thing that really like made me like realize, yeah, I'm not cut out to be a supervisor or manager is when I led my first like set where so I had like a team of like four people. and that was just so overwhelming. I had no idea how to direct people at all.
Oh
Like, and
wow.
so everyone kept coming to me, like asking like what to do. I'm like, I don't know. I need to think about it, you know? And it was just so stressful because I'm like, I can't think about it and direct you at the same time because I'm like, I'm not sure. So everyone's just sitting there for like, you're just like twiddling their thumbs, not sure. And I'm just staring at it, like working
Yeah.
out in my head. So it was just, even just thinking about it is getting me a little. So yeah, I
Okay.
stepped down. I'm like, okay, I'm not a supervisor. I'm a behind the scenes person. I like to make things happen from behind, you know. And that's actually the
Hmm.
type of position I have right now in the office I'm at. I went from the customer service time, and I got a couple of promotions into the point where I could be into the back office, and I'm doing great there. Because I don't have to interact with people so directly all the time, which is again is one of those ironies. Like I kind of feel like bored at my job because I don't get to interact with people, but at the same time, I'm doing well at it because I don't have them to distract me either. I don't know.
Hmm.
So, anyways, I did tell you I was thinking about work earlier, so I guess it's still in my head.
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. So I
Yeah,
do see like there's like a stress about um like figuring things out in the moment, right?
yeah, definitely that figuring out in the morning moment. I'm reluctant to put my name on things until I know they're perfect. I have problems
Hmm.
with that. Tend to be a bit of a perfectionist.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah,
So, how about the flex things? So supposedly with flex last, um, like you won't want your face on the front of things, or
no. I mean,
especially with like with a company or something like that.
even when you asked me about the thumbnail, I was like, oh, you want my face out there? I immediately
Really?
cringed a little bit. I was like, oh, I was like, okay.
I knew that was gonna happen. I'm like, if he's actually a four, that's gonna happen.
I was just like, it's okay, it's whatever, you know. It's like my face is out on the internet anyway. I was rationalizing it. Here we go.
Okay, okay. I mean, if you want me to take it down, I will.
No, it's
But
fine. And I think it was not a bad picture, so I'll take it.
okay, interesting. Huh. So, hmm. Okay.
Back to
I'm
no, I'm kidding.
I'm trying to like come up with questions here, but so like yeah, the first thing was that like the thing about flex last, like feeling awkward with
Hmm.
like having their face in front of like of something.
Yeah.
Um, and how about like putting your name as like if you do a project where you name it
Huh.
like Omar or
No, I would definitely name it after the project. Like what it is. I would never put like Omar's this. It's like, why would I need to? The project speaks for itself. It's like,
okay, okay, hmm,
yeah, no, that would definitely put me at the bottom of the credits. Like, I don't care. It's like, do I get paid? That's all I care about. No.
ah,
Mm,
hmm,
uh,
interesting.
interesting.
Oh.
No.
I'm sorry if my
I
sleep is
know, you're
like too
fine.
much.
I know. I
You
hope
keep
I don't.
poking it. I'm like, what am I
I
doing? Like,
know. I
fuck.
know. I do that. See, that I think that's what I mean by sometimes I come off too much. Like, um, I notice I do that a lot. I poke and prod and just kind of I think I subconsciously kind of bully the other person a little bit. And like
Okay,
kind of
that's
like
funny
force them to
because
open up.
hmm that's funny because I had suspected you might be FM.
Mm.
I did suspect that. I'm still questioning it because throughout this whole interview, like there's been some poking, and it's like just little here and there. It is a demon, so just a little bit, but I kind of see it. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
uh,
I feel I can gauge when they can take it, you know? I feel like you're somebody
hmm.
who wouldn't get too subconscious about it. I feel like you'd get a little
Yeah.
bit, but just enough to make it entertaining.
It makes like what it does to me is I start like questioning like okay well because I feel like you're like the the way in which you poke tells me what I should be doing. And so then,
Mm.
based on what I should be doing, I'm like, oh, is that what they expected me to do? I didn't know they expected
Oh,
that.
no, no, no. Yeah, see, that's I think a very number one mentality. Like I think the way you're like going in on you're focusing on what are my expectations of you. I don't have any.
Hmm.
I'm just chirping back like an observation that I find amusing. And it's the way you
Hmm.
go, hmm.
Oh, okay,
Because you
okay.
do it so often. I find it amusing. That's what it is.
That is so funny. So, okay, so I have to dissect this now. Like, I want to see if
Right.
your FI is feminine or masculine.
Mm, mm.
'Cause that's usually the easiest way to tell. So, Um, I mean, there's a lot of ways to go about that. First of all, like, do you actually see yourself as the dangerous one, or do you see the tribe as like the dangerous one?
Oh, the tribe, hands down.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Like,
Um,
can you expand on that?
People are chaotic and go, I don't know, it's just, can I summarize it to that? People are just, it's like,
Hmm.
I don't know how to think about it.
Hmm.
Could you elaborate possibly?
Okay, so with masculine DE, they are putting like, okay, let me say it this way. With masculine DE, the consequences are coming from the tribe. So either the tribe like they feel like the tribe is telling them there's going to be consequences or they're telling the tribe there's going to be consequences,
Mm,
so it's very like you know um, from what everybody can see, I'm talking about that danger, if that makes sense. Does that make
I,
sense? I don't think
I,
that makes sense.
it's like I think I can pull something from I mean, using your words, I definitely feel like the consequences come from the tribe. I'm kind of in the habit of oh, if that works for you is like my go-to phrase. Like, oh, that works, or whatever is your way of doing it. That's why I'm a
Hmm.
terrible job trainer too, because I'm supposed to tell them how to do it. And I'm like, oh yeah. So, I'm
Hmm.
like, well, here's the way that works for me. If that works for you too, then great, kind of thing.
Hmm. Whereas with masculine DI, the aggression comes more from um, like like because I'm upset about this, I'm going to pursue consequences. Like it's like personal. Um, and so like when somebody's pushing with masculine DI, because you can push with masculine DI, it will just look different than masculine DE.
Hmm.
So pushing with masculine DI, it's more like I'll give you an example. Like Candace Owens, she's MF, SCFI, consume, play, blast, sleep. And a lot of the time in her, she has like a YouTube channel where she
Mm,
talks about like recent news that everybody's watching, like something that a celebrity did recently. Like this celebrity was
mm,
shaking her butt on stage, or like the celebrity has, three different men. She's dating two different men, or something like that. She'll pick some
well,
kind
go
of
that
like,
celebrity, okay? Sounds like they're owning themselves. So, they
and
sound like they're
and
living their
so
best
like
life.
she'll just like pick some kind of like value that is occurring socially, and she'll
Mm-hmm.
critique it like, oh, when I was growing up, like we did things like this.
Mm.
And that celebrity is going against values that, I mean, she just makes it sound like everybody should have her values.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I don't
yeah.
agree with that at all,
Hmm.
personally. I'm very much of the mindset of like, uh, it's the, given like like our experiences as people are just so varied and come from so many backgrounds and there's so many nuances. Like, how could you even like begin to think of somebody else being held to the same like social standards as yourself, you know?
Hmm.
So I'm just like, I'm more of the mentality of whatever works, you know?
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Hmm.
no, I'm like, you could be as it's like I would never do that, and I'm self-assured in that fact, like what I would not and would and wouldn't do. Like I'm very self-assured in that, like what my moral standing is and everything, and what's but as far as the judging aspect of it that I'm picking up from the other YouTuber that I've not watched before, so I don't know the context. I don't know the context of it too much, but I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe actually this is a judgment, and look at me being a masculine FI saying, "How could you judge somebody?" So look at now I'm counterpointing in my own self. What is going on?
Well, I do want to say another thing. So, with feminine FI, they see themselves as innocent, and the tribe is bad. Like, you guys are dangerous, and I'm innocent, and you're affecting me.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Do
Oh,
you
that's
relate
so
to that?
hard. It's hard to see it. That's the one function I can never like figure out. That's why I haven't.
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm masculine F or masculine T. It
Hmm.
just. I don't know. That one feels so much more flexible and nuanced.
Yeah. I wonder if it's possible that it's like lead friends plus like masculine FI, if that's what it is. Maybe it looks more like FE, and then FE is already closer to feminine FI. So I don't know.
Yeah. No, Xavier's trying to figure that part out with me too, and neither of us can really figure it out. I'm like, we're pretty much like, yeah, we need some outside perspective, somebody to catch me when I'm not thinking about it. Yeah.
But you see how you say that? Like that sounds to me like you need like somebody like a real masculine TE. Like it sounds like your brain already like knows what that is. I don't know. I don't know if I'm making that up.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. You probably know more
Interesting.
about OPS than I do, that's for sure. You definitely have a lot more experience. What I know is just what I picked up from listening to Xavier or
Yeah.
eavesdropping on Dave and Chen videos.
I'm just like pushing a little bit to try to like come down to the like what exactly is like the sensory here. I want to know like what exactly your examples of your experience look like.
Mm. I actually
Um,
suck at that. I suck at referencing. It's one of the most frustrating things about when I'm trying to talk is that I have an idea in my head and I want to articulate it well and I want to like give it that sensory backing, but then I never can. So I think that's why I end up never sharing, or why I'll disclaim myself. I'll be like, so I read on a Facebook article, like some random thing, internet thing, but I read somewhere that it said this, and I'll make it clear that like I don't know what I'm talking about, but this is what I read at one point.
hmm,
Like I don't know if that's at all
interesting.
what you're going for.
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, what you're saying sounds like the feminine SE part, but like, um, hmm, let me target something different. So let's see. Hmm, okay. Do you think that you prefer friends who are like Savior F or Savior T?
Hmm. I haven't thought about this before. Would I prefer Savior F or Savior T friends? Uh, I I want to say I'd probably prefer Savior T friends, maybe. I don't know. It's a very slight leaning, only because I do have a lot of F friends now, so the idea of having T friends sounds intriguing, and also I kind of like the idea of. I feel like I might be imagining it, but I feel like having a T friend would be uh more clear. Like I would know what's expected out of the friendship with a T friend, and that I
Hmm,
can appreciate.
I see.
Because an F friend's just like they're just looking for the good vibes. And I'm like, can I give the good vibes? I don't know. Depends on my mood. Depends on the day. Depends on the scenarios.
Hmm. Interesting.
By the way, I
Hmm.
wanted to ask, did you purposely position your head to be in the eyeball of the lion behind you?
I did not. I gave up. I used to try to make it like, I tried to be where you can actually fucking see the lion, but I gave up. I just whatever.
Oh, see, it still looks purposeful though. I think it's well positioned, so
If I
that's
sit like
nice.
this, that's awkward. Okay.
Yeah, I know you're good. It's not awkward, I don't think.
So you do prefer save your tea friends, um,
In theory.
in theory, and because okay, so that's interesting because I also really like having save your tea friends, because I end up like stealing the thinking from the
What do you mean by
um,
stealing it?
and I say stealing, I'm just
Oh, like
saying
you're
that.
pinging off of it, like you start picking up on that
Well,
mentality.
it's more that I can't really build it by myself. Like I can't
Uh,
really build NT by myself. I usually have to talk to somebody, and we start like
okay.
going, getting crazy with the NT and building something, um, some sort of framework or theory or way of explaining things, and um, so they help me facilitate that,
Mm.
and then like I also give them the FI, um, well, the feelings. Like I feel the void of their feelings.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
You're like,
we're
yeah, but
like,
who's actually going to use that kind of thing?
I know, right? Like that's the problem. Like a lot of the time with the savior thinkers, like on the flip side of it, like I'm kind of like hoping that they get more, like they talk about feelings or values or like anything like that, emotions,
Mm,
so that I can like consume sleep, that side of things
mm,
sometimes,
mm-hmm.
and help them with that because that's easy for me.
Yeah.
Um, but but on the other side, like when I'm talking to savior feelers, I feel like sometimes our values are different,
Mm,
and like I'll try to give them advice, and they just don't take it.
yeah.
And since they don't take it, I feel like
It's hard.
there's, there's no point from
Yeah.
me
Okay. That one I
dealing
actually
with it.
kind of I think I relate to a little bit on that one because yeah,
Hmm.
like there is some part of me that like wants like I spend all this time in the consumed sleep, and thinking about things and like viewing things in a certain way. Um, but I feel like there's never really an opportunity to share that because it's like through that experience and through those contemplations, I pretty much just come to the conclusion that everyone has to find those answers for themselves before it can ever really bear any weight because it needs to be rooted in the sensory of experience.
Hmm.
So it's like it almost like I'm spending all this time thinking about this and it only helps me. And I'm like, that's great, but it's also kind of like boring?
No, I get you. That like I understand that. Like um hmm. So at that point you just reject your friend or you just move on.
No, no, I let them continue doing what they do, and then I'll still kind of, I'll still.
You're not a social one or anything, right? Like
No, I roll with it. I'm like, oh, okay, this is where we're going. Okay. Yeah, like
okay.
if there's going through troubles that I feel like I would never go through, I don't know, just do what I can from my perspective to try to be there for them or
Hmm.
yeah, sometimes it's not about the words, I guess. It's just having somebody in your corner, I think, that people appreciate. So I think it's just more about my presence than my mind.
Hmm. Do you think that you tend to label people as your friends, um, like all the time? Like, do you use that a lot?
I would pretty much label somebody as a friend if I had like three interactions with them on separate days, especially particularly if they initiated the interaction. So that's
That
just like my
matters.
little. Yes, it does matter if they interact with me. Like that's extra points. Oh yeah, I could go out and talk to anybody. Talk to a stranger or whatever. That just means I'm a sociable person. If they actually enjoy talking to me, they'll reach back out. They'll talk to me. They'll go out of their way to say hi. That means I came across their mind unprompted. So that's what then I extra appreciate it. Like, oh, it's not just like me having to reach out because I'm looking for company. Like, you actually enjoy my presence to the point where you'll reach out to me too. Like, that's awesome.
Hmm.
So, so at that point, I start that it instantly like increases like my bond with them a little bit more.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's interesting because I always reach out to people first. I hope like it's like my dream that one day somebody will message me first.
Yeah, see, it's nice, isn't it? It's like
One day, but that's never gonna happen. I feel like I have to
it's
impress
because you're
people.
too. It's like yeah, you're too on the ball. It's like um, it's like you gotta give them. It's like fishing, You gotta give them a chance to miss you too a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I know Xavier, he's one of those people who keeps up very well with his friends. Like he'll actually always message them on their birthdays. Meanwhile, I suck at remembering birthdays. I have to put it in the calendar and set a reminder. Like, hey, it's this person's birthday. Um, yeah,
Hmm.
but I think that's why I appreciate it though, is because I'm thinking other people are like me, like they're just following their impulses in a way and just kind of like, oh, unprompted, there was no message or no reminder, and you just decided to message me, or there's no obligation. It's just because you just felt like it.
Hmm.
I
I
don't know.
hear you.
That's my perspective. So,
Hmm. I wonder if like part of that has to do with being FI plus friends,
mm,
where it's like maybe you're trying to gauge where are people's commitments
mm,
to their friends. Do you think?
mm. It's not. I think I get the sentiment. I think I just wouldn't use the word commitment.
Hmm.
So, I would just look at it like, I don't know.
Who is a good friend versus who is a bad friend?
I guess it's not good or bad or committed. I guess close, because committed means it implies consistency to me. While I don't necessarily need a consistent friend, they can be somebody like that friend that I told you that I hadn't talked to in almost a year. I consider them a good friend. Um,
Hmm.
and then there are some people who are closer, or there are some people who talk to me more regularly that I feel are not as close, even though I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Hmm. So like people that are like more like acquaintances. Um, and you did say like you like to keep things a little superficial,
Mm,
and so do you end up appreciating the acquaintances more? Like okay, so like for example, like would you appreciate having 10 acquaintances more than having one super close friend?
um, I think at the end of the day, I would give up the 10 acquaintances for the one friend.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know. Why do I feel like, am I doing bad at this? I know there's not really a good or a bad to it, but I don't know.
No, no, I'm not trying to like give off this like, oh, you have to, do my masculine FI once or anything like that. I'm just like saying like, oh, okay, like, like I thought that like when you said superficial, you meant it.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe I don't know what I want at the end of the day. So there's that. I'm saying one thing and then I'm like, oh, you know what? On second thought, now I'm not in the mood for that anymore.
Interesting.
So maybe it
Uh,
is feminine feeling. I don't know.
it,
It's
it
whatever it
could
wants.
be. I mean,
It's as masculine as it wants to be because it's so feminine.
uh, interesting. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, do you relate to putting pressure on yourself? Like that's like a masculine FI thing. Do you put like a lot of like crazy pressure on yourself?
Um, mm, in the way that I will tolerate a situation that is almost feels like it's wrecking me inside just because I think it's for the best.
Mm.
Like, especially like in a work situation, you know? Um, like, or how was it? Um, oh yeah, there was like one time where I was sick, um, where I just felt really tired all the time, you know, like really lethargic, more than usual. And but I was like, but I'm trying to like ping the tribe, you know, in a way, I think. And it was like everyone was saying, like, oh, I don't know, you're always tired. You seem fine. So I'm like, well, everyone says I seem fine, so it must be in my head. I must be imagining it. So here I am still carrying on with my day, doing work, you know, um, going out, doing running errands and shit. And then I find out, oops, I had COVID. It's because I didn't get any of the flu-like symptoms that I was even out and about. I didn't get tested because I didn't think it was the COVID. And as far as everyone was concerned, like I seemed
Mm.
fine. So I was here walking around, sleeping for 13-hour days, and I wasn't trusting that something was wrong. I was literally sleeping like 12 to 13 hours a day, and I was like, oh, I must be imagining it. Everyone says I just always am kind of lethargic, so
What is that? Hmm.
I don't know. That's an example. Or at work, I remember a job was not well for me, but I was so reluctant to leave it because I was so worried about how they would be even more short-staffed, so I couldn't leave. I couldn't give myself permission to. So there was that too. I don't know if
That
that's the fun.
sounds more masculinity, in my opinion, because
Mm,
like when a masculine TE says they're gonna do something, their FI is not strong enough to get them out of it a lot of the
mm,
time.
mm-hmm,
Whereas with masculine FI, like if I was in those situations, like if I was sleeping 13 hours a day, um, or like if, and maybe maybe the social one factors in, but if I was in a job situation where, um, like like just anything is being pushed past my limit, I just immediately assert like, okay, well, I'm at my limit. Like I'm going to say this now. Like
mm,
so I think I don't know. I don't know. Just it just kind of seems different. I don't know.
yeah. I don't know. I kind of make the assumption um that like my limits aren't real.
Hmm.
It's kind of this perception. Like I feel like I'm always inhibiting myself. So I'm like, I can always go a little further than what I'm actually thinking I can because I don't want to be self-limiting. So I'm always
Hmm.
trying to push it further. I'm sorry, are the blast coming through? Because
No, I'm listening to you. Like I'm trying to. Um, let me see. I think that maybe part of that is. I mean, that can be so many things.
right,
It's hard to
yeah.
say.
Yeah, it's also self-reporting, so at the end of the day, you
Yeah.
gotta see what I'm not thinking about, what I'm actually doing, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, one person may come to a certain conclusion about themselves,
Mm-hmm.
based on a small amount of data, whereas somebody else that may say that is basing it on like like more heavy evidence. So
All
like
right.
the weight of those words changes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's always on other factors into play than what's on the conscious like surface there, you know?
Hmm.
Like, for example, I could be leaning masculine TE, but maybe what it actually was is that I valued those relationships with my workers so much, that I don't know.
It just
Oh,
it sounds like the because I'm thinking it's related to work,
yeah.
like doing the work, like the physical, like doing the thing. So with masculine TE, it's more like your job is just a little more threatening than when you have feminine TE. Like it's easier
Mm,
to wiggle out of work with feminine TE, like just based on like, oh, well, I just feel bad today, so I'm just gonna not. Like I'm gonna quit my job. Um, like in the past, I have like had, I mean, it was like I had medical reasons to quit my job.
mhm,
But like for me, it was like it didn't take much for me to say, okay, well, there's the medical reason. Let's go, that kind of thing. So I feel like if I had feminine FI, I would like starve the values. Like they wouldn't matter as much.
mm,
Like I don't know. It is a little. It feels that there's a difference. I'm
yeah.
noticing. Yeah. Hmm.
Hmm, very interesting. So we've been running for about an hour and 6 minutes already. Look at that.
Yeah. I usually go like closer to 2 hours. If you
Oh,
feel
okay.
like this is a lot, definitely just let me know.
No, I can keep going. That's fine. I
Okay.
was like, how long did he intend on going for this? Is what I was kind of wondering.
Yeah. No, I had said it in the original request, like
Oh, did you? My bad.
1.5 to 2. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Um.
Yeah. You said that you're going to send a link, and I was like, oh, okay. Oh, I've never used this before, so I just clicked it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Hmm. Okay, so there was this component to something you were saying earlier about how you'll bring your friends together, knowing that
Mm.
they're gonna talk to each other.
Yeah.
So do you like? I'd like you to like expand more on being like a social matchmaker, if that's how you would call it.
Yeah. No, yeah, no, it's because I know I don't always have a lot to say, or at least nothing that I ever feel is like pertinent, I guess. So I don't know. I feel like I just would much rather um set the scene where other people would enjoy themselves or talking. Basically, I would much rather be I think a host over an attendee. Well, no, that's not always true. Hold on, I'm getting off track. Um, Rewind. Sorry. Uh, Sorry, I'm fidgeting with everything on my desk right now. I'm having a little trouble focusing. I'm sorry.
No, it's all
Um,
right. So let me help you out. So like,
yeah.
are you saying that I guess maybe you're saying that you like to bring something to the social table um, as you participate in it. Is that a thing?
Oh, okay, okay, thank you. Um, yeah, I like to I would much rather invite a group of friends than just one particular friend, unless they're a talkative friend. Um, my one-on-one friends, I like to just hang out with the ones who will pretty much do all the talking for me, and I can just
Mm,
listen and just chime in here and there. Um, because I'm not a big talker, I like to sort of help facilitate the environment that would help other people do the part that's hard for me, which
mm,
is the talking, like the actual conversation making. So I think that's why I'm good with the why I have a lot of acquaintances is because I've got that part down for the most part, the pleasantries, the very formal conversation, the small talk essentially. That part's easy to articulate because it's pretty much just standard prompts and everything. You kind of know what they're going to reply, and you can kind of poke and prod, pull out just what you need from there, get enough about the information about them, and figure out if it's going to go deeper from there. And so once I
mm,
find an actual interesting person, and then we do start hitting it off and talking a little bit. Um, to keep things even more interesting, I'll like invite friends to like a group. Like, oh yeah, there's this event that's going on. There's always some other context going on in the background where talking doesn't have to be the basis of it. Um,
Hmm.
so,
Hmm.
uh, and then and yeah, I kind of use the other people to sort of entertain the other. They're doing the work of entertaining people for me, so I can enjoy the company without having to expend all my own energy.
Interesting. So I guess this is a way that you leverage, um,
It's
or
like
like,
social delegating.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
That's an interesting word. So social delegating. Okay. Hmm. Because they said something about like fours. Well, it was particularly the sleep last and consume last fours, but they were saying like they like a lot of attention. So I'm
Mm.
wondering if like maybe because you're Demon Blast.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I don't like too much attention to be on me. Like if I'm the center of the conversation, usually I'll push it on. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Like, what did you think? Like you kind of went through something similar, didn't you? And I push it on to them.
Right.
You know?
So you give attention that like you want to be around other people that are getting attention. Is that
Yeah,
accurate? Yeah.
yeah. I know.
Okay.
I'm a sick voyeur. Oh my gosh.
That is so funny. So I guess that's the social delegating. Like um you hook people up together.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, it's more because that's really what it is. Like right now, I can tell you I'm pretty tired actually. I'm having like probably about like a quarter of the energy that I had at the beginning of this video.
Okay, okay.
But no, I do want to continue. It's just this weird back and forth that I have. Like I'm enjoying it, but I'm also really tired. You know what I mean?
No, I hear
So,
you. So that's
so
a thing. Like that's part of
yeah.
the structure, like consume sleep with four. Like
Mhm.
it maybe you end up doing the social delegating to make space for your consume sleep, you think?
Pretty much, because then I can step away if need be, which I have done. Like okay, I need a breath. Like I'll let those two are
Okay.
in the middle of like a heated conversation real quick. I'm like, oh, but here's my chance to slip away to the bathroom and just sit on my phone in the stall or something for a moment, and I'm like
Yeah,
breathe or just go outside, and then I'll come back. And I'm like, okay, yeah, just refresh myself.
interesting. I
Um,
see.
so it just gives me that wiggle room.
Hmm.
So I think it's just
Interesting.
become this game of managing the four and the blast, or the mope energy. So like the mope and the four, like this is like the compromise that they've kind of created in my head
Hmm.
to kind of both enjoy themselves.
Interesting. Wow. Okay, that's good because that means that when people have incongruencies, they find a way to like conflict manage the incongruency.
Right.
Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Because I kind of see that like with myself with responsibility because I feel like responsibility itself it requires a lot of like extroverting or like play
Hmm.
and blast. Because like if you have to take care of things, then you have to like be extroverted. So like at least for me, like I do have like cycles where I will like live my life as if I'm play blast on my day to day. Like the
Hmm.
actual work I'm doing is like if I have a lot of energy, and
Hmm.
then I will like I'll do that for months at a time, maybe let's say 6 months, and then I'll crash. It looks like I have demon like consumed sleep or something, and then I'll like crash for I don't know. I give myself like a month. I'm like, okay, after this month is over, I have to, go back to being productive and like building myself. Um, so I think, yeah, I think there's something there. Like when you have an incongruency, you like find a way to compartmentalize the cards you have so that they
Hmm.
show up. so that they show up in a way that actually meets all your needs.
I wanted to like latch on to what you said about like the 6 month crash
Oh yeah.
because that is literally like something word for word. Well, maybe not word for word. I don't know. Pretty close to what I've told like Xavier and other people like I know that are closer to me. But like every new job I have or every new role, I tell myself like I'll give myself 6 months to master it because at 6 months I'll have a mental breakdown and I'll want to quit and I want to just give it all up or I'll get through it and all of a sudden I'll start do just at, like just getting it, you know?
Hmm.
But yeah, every job I've had, 6 months, I have a mental breakdown. Like it's just a little one, like,
Wow.
like, and it's like I already know it. I know this is a pattern that I do. So I'm like, oh, I'm starting to feel burnout. Like, how long have I been here? Oh shit, we're getting closer to 6 months. That's fine. And then I'll think I'm fine. Like, oh, I'm getting this job fine. I doesn't even look like I will have a mental breakdown. I'm doing great, you know. And then
Hmm.
insert inconvenience, and just like just break down.
Interesting.
I don't know. I'm
Hmm.
sorry. I don't know if it's related, but I thought
No,
the 6 month
absolutely,
swing
absolutely.
was
No, you're doing a
interesting.
great job, honestly. Oh, this is great. But yeah, like, what the fuck is it with 6 months? Like, why did we
Right?
come up with 6 months? Like,
That's funny. Yeah.
yeah, huh?
But you know, it's always it feels a little brighter if you can come out of it on the other end of it though.
Hmm.
Like I feel like after that little crash and breakdown, I do kind of like come out of it like, all right, I'm ready to do this again, you know, kind of thing. Where it's just like a sigh and I just get back on it and then I'm like, oh, it's not so bad anymore, kind of thing.
Hmm.
Until the next
Yeah.
6 months.
So how is that different for your husband? Like with him being a number one, he's also blast last, but he's savior play. Still kind of should be similar, assuming his type is right. How does it play different? Like, is there a
Uh,
6 months or?
I don't think so. I think he has a lot more micro swings.
Hmm.
You know, I think he's. I feel like he's got feminine F. Like his shit moves so much. Like it's exhausting. Like he's like complaining about work like sometimes on some days, and I'm starting to get heated. You know, like kind of like, oh, this is getting me all riled up. You know, and then he's like, what? No, I'm fine. I talked about it. I'm over it now. And I'm like, why
Hmm.
would you just why would you build me up like that? I felt your frustration, I felt your irritation, and now I'm feeling it, and now you're fine, so now you got to decompress.
Hmm.
Anyways, that's I uh, diverge a little bit, but yeah, he seems to have very micro swings. Like one day he's just like rah, and the next day he's great, you know.
I have
um
noticed that actually. Like, I mean, again, assuming his type is right, but I have particularly noticed with consume, play, sleep, blast.
mhm.
They're just a little bit better than us with sleep over play in the middle. At keeping their energy level consistent. Like there still will be a
Mm,
crash, of course, but they're just a little better at being like consistent with it. I
yeah,
think.
I feel that. I feel like he's better at it than I am.
Hmm. Whereas
um yeah.
I feel like with you and me, with sleep over play in the middle, we're probably better at the long term consistency. Like we're thinking like in 6 month chunks. Like we're
Mhm.
like, okay, well, last 6 months, let me put in the energy that will let me last 6 months. Like it's,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Hmm.
I feel that. You're like pacing yourself or what have you.
Hmm.
Maybe.
Interesting.
I don't know if we're pacing. Yeah, I feel like it's a build up. I think that's how he
Hmm.
describes it with me. He sends to describe it like and it's something I just can't help. But he's like, it seems that I'm a bottler. I don't think I am. I'm not conscious of it. But
Hmm.
the next thing I know, I'm like an issue that was bothering me 6 months ago. I guess this is bothering me again.
Oh. Hmm.
I can't give you any sensory examples. I'm sorry, because I have no idea.
Okay. The bottling. I mean, I've definitely like done a similar thing with bottling. Um,
Yeah, I think
I
I'm an
feel like
Enneagram 9.
yeah. Like the bottling thing. Like I mean, like for example, like there have been things that my ex-girlfriends have done when we were dating, and like let's say we dated for 2 years. Like stuff that maybe she did like at the very beginning that was bad. Like maybe she did like she fucked up, and we did address it. Like I did tell her like, look, don't do that. I'm gonna leave if you do that again. Um, but like if I feel like she did not like actually emotionally process that with me, then I feel like the problem is still there because now in the NF of things, um, the attitudes or the like the mentalities that led to that happening in the first place are still there, you know?
Hmm.
And maybe they've shifted around a bit. Like they like of course, like maybe she's not literally going to do that again, but there's just something in the F that needs to change. And it can only change if we process it.
Mm.
It's I may like resurface it and be like, okay, well, this thing happened, and I'm kind of seeing it. Not the same exact thing, but like I'm feeling a similar way again, and it may be because something hasn't changed,
Mm.
or something is like we still there's a conflict that we haven't addressed that is
Mm.
not literally that, but is
Hmm.
like within the F. Yeah. Do you relate at all to that?
No, I think I definitely did. I agree a lot with the like how like before anyone's minds can change or before we can adapt or make it work, like you do have to, I agree, like process it and think about it together. Like think about what happened, like find the pattern that happened. Just figure out what's going on. Otherwise, it's like you said, it's just gonna end up repeating again, or it's gonna be there but just hidden in the background.
Mm,
And I agree with the clearing the air, like talking it out, like, okay, but like this happened, so we need to like, what does this mean for us? You know, like what does this mean right now?
mm, yeah.
I don't know if that's
Okay.
what you were trying to say. If
No, no, definitely. Yeah, you're hitting the nail on the head. Um, so the last thing I want to bring up before we close is about your flex swings. Do you think you ever have a swing into flex? So a swing into flex would be like you don't show off at all in any other area, but and usually the fours they will do it with their friends, like when they're playing games
mm,
or like something where you're like there is competition between the friends.
yeah, but
Um,
it's like inconsequential, really.
they'll get like very competitive with their friends. Right?
Um, I don't think I have hard swings, but I do have it a little bit.
Hmm,
I'm kind of it's a little embarrassing to talk about, but
really?
I used to be a little bit of a sore winner,
Ah,
a little bit, and not I'm become conscious of that, as I get older, like like
hmm.
it's like now I can gloat to myself in my head and just feel a certain like private sense of superiority.
So
Like
by a sore winner, you mean like you make other people feel bad after you won?
yeah, those people one of my friends is like this. She's a sore winner with Monopoly. Like she just has this sly smile, like, oh, I guess somebody owes me rent. Oh, are you bankrupt now? Sorry, it's just the game. Like that kind of mentality. Like,
Oh
yeah, we know
yeah.
you're winning. You don't have to be a dick about it.
Mm,
But I don't know. I find it kind of like an irreverent humor, Like,
hmm.
you know. But
Interesting.
I would never play like that with some of my friends. Like one of my friends, she's highly competitive, and she actually does get upset about it. So I would never play like that with her. I would only like
Mm,
dish it out if I feel like they can honestly like if they can dish it back or if they can take it, you know.
mm.
So
Wow. Okay. That sounds very like masculine TE to me. They always say that. Like they say, "Oh, I'm not gonna be masculine TE with you if you're not gonna be able to take it." Like that's a
Right, right.
thing. Yeah.
Because yeah,
Uh,
I don't want like I respect the feel like the feelings above all. Like I want us to enjoy it, but that little bit of friction adds some intrigue into the whole situation. Making people
hmm,
just a little embarrassed or just a little shy, a little bashful makes for a memorable and interesting interaction, in my opinion.
hmm,
But I'm willing to do it for myself, and I would not be mad at other people like, oh, okay, I deserve that one, because I have one friend who retaliates hard, where
hmm.
I start with a little poke and she comes back with a punch. I'm like, got it, okay. Like like she's obviously like it's too serious for her, so I know. Yeah, never mind.
That might be the masculine DI. Like when it's personal, like if she took it personal, it would
Yeah,
be like a scratch. Like it's too
yeah,
much. It's not like
yeah.
joking. Uh,
Yeah, but you've even got that sense, you can tell when it's joking and it's a game to know where that line is.
hmm, hmm. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna process this whole interview. It's like a lot of stuff here that I have to like make sure I like organize it somewhere.
Yeah. So
Um,
what do you do with this information, like the information you gain from the interviews?
I don't know. I guess I just like pile it up and
Mhm. Like it's to
you
help
know.
like develop yours and your viewers' understanding, you feel?
Yeah, I mean it's just to like dig like explore what exactly are the social types and like
Hmm.
how does it manifest with your 512? Because
Hmm.
obviously, type twins have differences.
Yeah, like we're
And
supposed, well, we're damn near type twins, aren't we? Like type adjacent.
it's supposed to be extremely, extremely close. And I think the difference is like the modalities are opposite. That's what I
Yeah.
think is going on.
Mm.
But also the social types are used to explain those differences.
Mm.
Yeah, or some of
Yeah.
the differences. Yeah.
Like, I feel like you do, well, I don't know. You're kind of funny. Like I feel like at least at first, I feel like you've opened up a lot, like even since we've only known each other for a little bit, but like I feel like you were uh um a lot more self-conscious of how you're coming off
Hmm.
before, but
Yeah.
now but now I feel like you've opened up a lot more, like I don't know.
Well, that's good. I do try like the combination flex with consume sleep. That's a
Right?
lot of self-awareness, a lot of like, plus ones are the deciderish, ones and fours are deciderish, in opposite ways. So like ones are kind of like IPs, fours are like EJs. Um, and so yeah, that's just a lot of self-awareness, and it can be tough to like tone that down and just be friendly with people and open
Hmm.
and not care about my mistakes and stuff like that.
Hmm.
That is tough.
Yeah, it is. I think because it's, you know, like, oh, we're skipping a bit. Is it my signal that's bad?
I still hear you.
Oh, there you go. You're moving a little bit. Um,
Okay.
Now I wanted to like ask, like, okay, I want to do like a little mini counter interview, I guess, if you don't mind.
Okay. No, that's fine.
So I mean, so we've talked about like, um, oh, hold on. I'm sorry. Now I'm getting my mindset. So like with the OPS thing, everybody sucks at something. So
Hmm.
theoretically, y- what do you think that you're missing by having four at the bottom versus what do you think you gain with having one at the top? Like as compared
Okay.
to the opposite, like compared to a four.
Okay. So I think that with friends last, I am allowed to like I allow myself a lot to reject people.
Mm,
Um, in the sense that sometimes um I feel like I okay. If I were to give everybody my attention, I would not be able to focus. and do what I have to do to achieve whatever is important. Um, and so I do like I just get into this mode where I'm just like so focused on um like the objective, like the actual fucking objective. Like what do we actually need to do right now? Like what needs to be done? So I'm like my brain is like constantly like locking onto what that is. Um and like just like just going full speed into the things, and in that process like I'll do it. And like if I have to, like if it's a group thing, I will absolutely take leadership. Like I'll just immediately like just start like delegating everything, like organizing the like just figuring out what needs to be done, how can we do it, who is best at doing it, and just go. Like just I immediately do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like tell them by when do things need to be done, and like just make sure people know when something needs to be done, how it needs to be done. So that's like just natural to me because of being lead flex, I think, with responsibility seconds.
Mm-hmm.
However, when it comes to needing to make friends, um, like I will like okay, so like sometimes there'll be somebody that I want to be friends with. Like I like their vibe, they're pretty cool. Maybe they are, they have a bit of a flex of their own, and that usually like if somebody does have some flex, like they have their own goals and places that they're going that are interesting to me, or maybe are similar to where I'm going,
Mm-hmm.
um, that'll tend to pique my interest more. Um,
Mm.
it doesn't have to be crazy, just that will tend to pique my interest,
Mm.
and I'll like think in my head like, okay, well, I want to make a friend. Like now it's time. Like I know it's time, and I'll like sit next to them, and um I'm like thinking in my head like, how can I fucking do this? Like how can I start a conversation that's going to lead to like opening up, or
Yeah.
like something like that, and that they'll like end up talking to me. I'm like, oh
Mm.
shit, here it is. Like it's
Yeah.
happening. Like we're gonna become friends. And I'm like watching. Like, am I impressing them? Like, are they
Mhm.
impressed? Like, are they like shocked by like my achievements, or like can they tell that I'm a serious person or something like that? Like that's literally in my head,
Mm.
and like maybe like they probably don't give a fuck about that. Like they're not actually looking at that, and so I accidentally let the opportunity pass, and I'm like still thinking about like
Mm.
this, like trying to become their friend for like months. It could be, um, and then like as the weeks go by, like I will kind of accept like, damn it, like I lost a friend. Like I let it
Mm.
go. Um, and then that's just kind of it. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's where like I feel like I'm losing something, because there's a lot of experiences that just don't include, trying to like just make yourself impressive to other people, that I
Mhm.
can't really um get, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's actually really insightful. I feel like, because I actually do admire type one people a lot, I think, because like I see like all their accomplishments. But the flip side of it is like there's an admiration, but there's also an alienation there sometimes,
Hmm.
because I'm like, dang, like they're probably not gonna want to be friends with me. Like like I'm so like ugh, in comparison, like what have I done? Like yeah. So I mean, I guess it really depends on like gauging the type of person like
Hmm.
Like what's impressive, what's too much impressive. I don't know. I say play in your strengths, you know. So you know if you know you're a type one, um, and um, if you're hanging out with a number, if you're trying to be friends with another number one, I imagine it would be like you would just find somebody whose goals and objectives kind of align with yours, and that would be a natural friendship. Um, if you think that the person you're trying to hang out with, trying to become friends with, is like a number four, you'd probably just want to like tone it down. You know, you don't want to intimidate them, I guess, you know, is my
Is that
theory.
how they
Is
feel? You think that like
it's how I feel.
specifically fours? Uh,
Yeah, I don't know. I get intimidated sometimes. Like I don't like talking with I don't talk to too much people like who are higher in sort of social status in life because I feel like you know like it's like wait, are you speaking to me out of an obligation or out of like some type of I don't know, like
hmm,
like it just feels like what's it makes me question the nature of the relationship.
hmm,
Because I feel like if I'm with like other more type four type people, I'm like, oh, okay, this is just a casual, like we can just enjoy just being ourselves. Like, oh, okay, okay. But if I'm like talking to like an number one type, um, I'm usually trying to understand like what is it they want from me because they seem to want something, you know.
hmm.
Um,
So you're
that's
afraid
my.
that they want to use you or they're looking at you badly?
I'm okay with them using me. I just need them to be upfront about it. Like I'm just like, wait, like don't make me get emotionally committed if you know, if you just want like a partner in crime, you know?
Ah,
I don't know.
interesting.
Maybe that's just me, you know.
Hmm, interesting.
But no, like I said, I really admire number ones. I think they're really cool. I love how they just seem to have like drive and vision in life, and I feel like that's something I lack. I don't know what I want, and I just kind
Hmm,
of am really just kind of here to just you know, I feel like I kind of am floating a lot of the times, even though I'm like on paper. I do have to remind myself, like, oh wait, I have accomplished a lot without even realizing it. You know, it's like I'm not doing nothing in my life, but at the same time, it's because I'm not working towards specific visions that I like. It's easy to forget what I've accomplished. You know, whereas I feel
hmm,
like in number one, you know, they have vision, so it's like very clear to see, like, oh wow, look at how many goals they've they've reached, how many boxes they've checked, and how many awards they have, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that stuff they
hmm,
worked towards. Like they threw a dart at the board and they went for it. You know, I think that is so amazing, and so I love to
hmm,
support people like that. Like I feel like I'm really compatible in a supportive sense for those
hmm,
type of people.
hmm.
I mean, I tell my husband all the time, like, if it wasn't for you, I'd probably still be living in our hometown, you know, working for like CVS or Kohl's or something still. You know, he's the one who
Hmm.
took me out of my comfort zone. You know, I wanted to support him, and then he kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone. So, like, that's why we live in Indy now. Oops, I probably shouldn't be giving my location. I'm moving soon anyway, so who cares? Y'all can try to track me. You can't find me. um, but
That's an
yeah.
interesting way to put it. It sounds like the fours amplify the comfort zone, whereas ones are like trying to um, almost intensify the discomfort socially in some way.
I feel like they're trying to find their position within the circle.
Hmm.
Does that make sense? Like they want to establish themselves like with a role and with a
Hmm.
purpose, you know?
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. I could see that
Uh,
for sure.
I don't know. That's how I'm like seeing it. In my like I feel like the ones are always like wonder like why am I here? What do I need to do? You know, kind of thing. They're very purpose driven.
Hmm.
Um while
Yeah.
I think a number four is just like they just kind of I feel like the fours as not speaking for all fours, but me as a four, I guess, you know, as a supposed four, I feel like what I'm looking for is um just where are we all at, you know, and like what is it that we're looking for? Because I don't really mind. Like, I don't have those one isms. I don't have the goal myself. I don't have something that I'm necessarily looking for. I'm just here to just okay,
Hmm.
like
Interesting.
I I think that's it.
Hmm. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
that was a really great interview. Um,
yeah, good.
we spoke about a lot of different things in terms of like we really explored a lot of about what four is.
Mm,
Um, and it seems like a pretty rare social type.
really,
I don't see many people that are fours.
oh, that surprises me.
Um, the other one is Guy. He's another ESFP. Um, and there's like a handful of other ones in the group. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for inviting me, giving me something to do for the afternoon. I really appreciate it. This has been
All right.
fun, and you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Peace.